oh man. What are we going to talk about tonight, man? What are we going to talk about tonight? How about we talk about how that was one of the worst Elimination Chamber matches I think the company has ever put on. What was it? 26 Elimination Chamber matches in total in history for WWE? That women's chamber match might be the worst of all time. How about we talk about how this show was completely unnecessary? Show did not need to happen tonight. How about we talk about how Philadelphia was one of the worst crowds in recent memory to ever sit in on a pay-per-view? How about we talk about Super Showdown happening 2 weeks before this show, leaving WWE less than 2 weeks to book a pay-per-view on the road to WrestleMania. The Elimination Chamber was overly predictable and completely unnecessary in what was one of the most underwhelming pay-per-views I think WWE has ever put on. And yet, people blast me for being negative on the WWE product. This is the product. This show was the product of 2 weeks of absolutely no build. This show was the product of zero investment. This was the product of how lackluster WrestleMania season has become. There's not one single person in that company that works on creative, that's making the decisions for their biggest season of the year, that legitimately gives a shit. This pay-per-view was a complete waste of everybody's time. And man, oh man, these gimmick pay-per-views have got to go. They gotta go. You are absolutely watering down every aspect of a gimmick match that this company has. Hell in a Cell, ruined. TLC, ruined. The last thing that actually made sense as far as the gimmick match was the Elimination Chamber being in the middle of the road to WrestleMania. And now this doesn't even need to be. This show was an absolute waste of everybody's time. And if you ask me, JD, do I need to go out and watch it? Did I miss anything? You missed absolutely nothing. You missed absolutely zero coming out of Elimination Chamber tonight. Everything was overly predictable. It was too long. Like I said, the crowd looked like they didn't even want to be there. I don't know what else to tell you, man. I really don't. I expected it to be a complete shit show, but I did not expect it to be this bad. This pay-per-view was absolutely worthless from the word go. And we're going to go over it all and why it was worthless from the word go right here on Off the Script. Thank you guys so very much. This is your Elimination Chamber 2020 review right here on Off the Script. I am JD. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible, audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys sign up. 30 days free of their service, including one free audiobook of your choice. It's a great way to support the show, and you get something for free while listening to the Elimination Chamber review right here on OTS. If you guys missed my live stream earlier, I did preview and predictions. I did pretty well. I thought WWE would actually swerve us in the main event with all the rumors about Vince McMahon being down on Shayna Baszler. Those seem to be nothing more than just rumors, but the rant was warranted. But we had a live stream today. We had a lot of fun. Amidst all the spam in the chat, I don't know what's going on with YouTube and their porn bots in the chat. If you guys are watching, you guys know what I'm talking about. But I did pretty well for the predictions tonight. And if you guys want to go and check that out, along with everything else, including Off the Script, episode 316 from this past weekend, make sure you guys check out everything you need down below in the description of this very video. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you to everybody that tweeted along with me. And thank you to all the idiots out there who wanted to be blocked because you're a bunch of fucking idiots. I am king in this community, man. You cannot get one over on me. This show sucked. This show sucked in every which way. But thank you guys for tweeting along with me on social media. Hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that bell for all notifications. We are on our way to 116,000 subscribers here on the good old YouTube. And if you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, you guys can certainly do that as well. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. There was a pre-show. You know what I was doing during the pre-show? Sleeping. Because WWE sent out a tweet earlier in the day saying that the pre-show match was the Viking Raiders, Ivar and Eric, versus Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Mixed with Peter Rosenberg being back on the panel, I figured, you know what? Maybe I could take a good old power nap during the pre-show, and that's exactly what I did. The Viking Raiders won, because did you expect Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder to get a victory? Two fucking losers, man. Holy shit. Viking Raiders win. What else did you expect to happen? Let's get right into the main card, man. Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. One-on-one match. This was easily the best thing on the show. It was the most scariest thing on the show, but it was easily the best match on the entire show, in my honest and professional opinion, of course. Some of you guys might take that SmackDown Tag Team Elimination Chamber match, but, I mean, I didn't even like that match. Both chamber matches were bad. Obviously, the tag team match was better than the women's match, but both chambers were incredibly underwhelming to me. But to me, Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak was easily the best thing on this show. Now, this match was brought together in about 1 week, typical WWE build, and Drew Gulak has been trying to find and mentor people to take down Daniel Bryan and maybe exploit his weaknesses. And then Drew Gulak said that he knows Daniel Bryan very well and he's giving others his knowledge on Daniel Bryan. And then on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan said, well, you know, I hear all about how you know me better than I know myself, so why don't you get in the ring with me on Sunday in Philly at the Elimination Chamber? And poof, we got a match. Drew Gulak versus Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan has actually been lobbying to be in a program with Drew Gulak, and this is his creative freedom running wild. This is Daniel Bryan's creative. He wanted to work with Gulak, and it just worked on this night. And like I said, this was easily the best thing on the show, and it proves how selfless Daniel Bryan really is. So, with these two guys, I said, they got to go at least 15 minutes. You got to give these guys 15 to 20 minutes max, especially in Philadelphia, where Drew Gulak is born and raised. Philadelphia. Gulak received some cheers because he was obviously the hometown guy. Not more over than Daniel Bryan, but still the hometown guy. They mat wrestled for the first few minutes. The story was that Gulak had to answer for almost everything Daniel Bryan did because he knew Daniel Bryan better than Daniel Bryan knew Daniel Bryan. So that caught Bryan off guard. Bryan broke up the sequence by delivering a kick, so Gulak smacked him in the face. And this was a very hard-hitting match. You've seen at the end of this thing the welts on Daniel Bryan's back. He was all cut up on his back and his elbow. Gulak was lacerated under his right eye, I believe. So Bryan blocked the vertical suplex, then both of them got sent out of the ring with a suplex over the top rope. Gulak came back with a high-angle suplex, and Bryan sold his neck. Bryan used a dragon suplex. Not a snapdragon suplex, but a dragon suplex. Nonetheless, then Gulak used a German suplex. And my God, man, this made the rounds on social media in GIF form almost immediately. People blasting WWE for allowing a move like this in the match. Gulak did a German release suplex that Bryan landed on his head and neck, and it was one of the most scariest things that I've seen happen to Daniel Bryan since he's returned. This was unnecessary, and it looked incredibly dangerous. Now, I would hope that Daniel Bryan knows what type of physicality he can and cannot do, and the limitations he can and cannot do with his previous neck and head injuries. But man, oh man, the referee was quick to go over. The referee was quick to check. And then Bryan got right back up and did Daniel Bryan stuff. He did the flip off the top rope. He did the running elbow. So you knew he was okay. But Gulak You've seen in the sequence, Gulak was slow to cover Daniel Bryan. It looked like he might have been saying something to Daniel Bryan or whispering to him in the middle of the cover if he was okay. I believe he held up Daniel Bryan's head and neck from the mat while he made the cover, but the referee made the cover anyway. Bryan's shoulders weren't even on the mat. This was incredibly dangerous, and everybody was shitting all over WWE for allowing something like that to happen. But like I said, you gotta think it's all Bryan. Bryan knows what he can and cannot do with the severity of his head and neck injury. So I'm just happy to see him walk out of this on his own 2 feet. He survived that dangerous and unnecessary spot here at the Elimination Chamber. Bryan rolled out of the ring to sell it, and he barely made it back in the ring by a 10 count. Bryan came back with a running clothesline, some kicks in the corners, some typical Daniel Bryan spots. Gulak crotched Bryan on the top. Then he did an inverted suplex, a reverse suplex off the top rope, and transitioned into his Gulak Dragon Sleeper, a.k.a. the Dragon Sleeper. Bryan slipped out, transitioned into the Yes Lock. He was also throwing some elbows in the middle of this thing. Gulak passed out in the hold, and the referee called for the bell. Bryan picks up the win. Very good match between these two. I was surprised that WWE allowed these guys to go out there and just do their shit for about 15 minutes. Bryan led the crowd in yes chants, and being that Gulak was the hometown guy, Bryan showed his appreciation not by shaking his hand, but pointing over to Gulak for a hard-fought victory, and gave some praise to Drew Gulak, even though Drew Gulak lost in defeat here. So Daniel Bryan wins with a round of applause for Drew Gulak, and Drew Gulak getting some yes chants in Philadelphia. So it was a very good match, but outside that scary moment, please, no more head and neck injuries to Daniel Bryan, please. You're creeping closer and closer to having this guy out forever with moves like that. Does not need to be a thing in his matches. Please. This was an excellent match. Daniel Bryan wins over Drew Gulak. Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo. You know, Humberto, the guy who has taken the letter L in the alphabet, because all he does in United States Championship matches is lose. Seriously. Humberto has had, I don't even know how many shots at the United States Championship, and he's lost every single one of them. So why is it that Humberto Carrillo is even in this match to begin with? Angel Garza has defeated him on 2 occasions. So why is Humberto in this match? You want to know why? Because WWE's logic is so skewed that Humberto Carrillo pinned the United States champion while losing to Angel Garza twice in a row. Pinned the United States champion in a random tag team match on Monday Night Raw, and WWE says, well, there's our number 1 contender. I guess singles victories over the guy who pinned the champion in previous weeks means nothing. This is why I get so angry with WWE. They make you look like an idiot, and then people just glance over it. It's nothing. You look like a fool. You really do. Now, the one thing I've said about these guys, all 4 of these guys, Ray is in a league of his own, but Garza has been phenomenal. Andrade is always phenomenal, and Humberto is a talented guy. His matches with Garza, his matches with Andrade, they're always decent matches. But I gotta be honest with you, man, I really do. And I know a lot of you feel the same way about this. For the love of Christ, we've seen this so many fucking times already in the past. What makes you think that I'm actually going to care about it again on this show for the United States Championship? I can't bring myself to care. I really can't. Now, if this was Garza versus Andrade, would have been a different story, but that's heel versus heel, and both of them are represented by Zelina Vega. So, I don't know what's happening. I figured Andrade was going to lose the United States Championship because it was just set up that way. I felt like he came back and WWE was readily just going to take that title off of him. You know, he lost the tag team match on Monday. I thought he was going to come in here and lose the championship to Carrillo. Because my logic was, I mean, how many fucking times has this guy got a United States Championship match and lost? He's got to win one of them, right? Right? Humberto! Andrade starts this match with a huge back elbow, a.k.a. the Judas effect. Huge back elbow right off the bat. He went right for a quick cover. I would have ended it right there. Be honest with you. Blindsided Humberto. Just like Dana Brooke blindsides him in catering when she swoops on in and takes the last scoop of macaroni and cheese. He knows about that. That's where he was before he got pushed on Monday Night Raw. Andrade stomps away at Humberto in the corner. Back and forth, the same shit that we've seen. Nothing new here. Andrade sent out to the floor. Carrillo followed. Some big chops. Both guys end up back in the ring. Carrillo leaps off the top turnbuckle with a flying headbutt. Not only does he do the silly arm drags, now he's got that little silly flying headbutt he does off the top rope. Carrillo with a massive springboard arm drag that sends Andrade to the floor. Carrillo drags him back up and to the apron. Andrade drapes Carrillo's neck over the top rope. So Andrade follows with a single leg drop kick, starts posing in front of the crowd. He got no heat for this whatsoever. Nobody got heat on this show, so I don't even blame Andrade. So there was a moment where Andrade did his pose, like I said, to get heel heat. The crowd did not react at all, just like they didn't react to anything on this show, really. Carrillo did a big hurricanrana off the top rope. Finally, the crowd woke up from their slumber. Andrade used a running double knee strike for a 2 count. Then Vega realized, what do I got to do to put this guy away? So she lifts up the black mats underneath. Because that's what this feud has been built off of. The black mats, they exposed the concrete. He went for the hammerlock DDT on the outside. That's what put Humberto out originally. So Andrade again tried for the hammerlock DDT on the concrete, but Carrillo countered with a back body drop on the mats. And Andrade sold it like he was in terrible pain, as if he hit the concrete, but he didn't. He hit a double padded fucking padding on the outside and sold the back. So Carrillo dived over the top, over the referee, took out Andrade, rolled him back in the ring. They traded roll-ups in a very intense sequence of roll-ups. And then Andrade caught him with a final roll-up, and he hooked the tights for another loss to Humberto. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, Humberto! I love it. I love it, man. Humberto has got to get the fuck away from the United States title. Please, please. You know what? All 4 of these guys really would... Humberto's lost so many times. Why doesn't he join his cousin? Join the dark side. Why don't we get a new Latino stable on Monday Night Raw, really? Like, he's obviously a loser. He can't get the job done. So, if you can't beat him, join him. Seriously. And then Ray... probably going to end up being a fatal 4-way match because Ray has no match at WrestleMania. I don't know why you would leave Ray off WrestleMania. Probably going to be a fatal 4-way. Seriously. So I don't know what's happening with the United States title, but I'm over it, though. I'm really over it. Just give Angel Garza the fucking United States Championship. That's what I say. Seriously. Humberto ends up being a loser again. I've lost count on how many times he's lost a United States title opportunity, but get this kid away from the United States title, please. Putting the title on him would have been a fucking grave mistake. Because nobody gives a shit about this guy. I find no reason to care about him at all. And I'm just tired of the same old shit. Can we move on to something else, please? Seriously. Why don't we get Black into the United States Championship picture? Moving on. Elimination Chamber match. The first of 2. The SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Miz and John Morrison. Miz and Morrison. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Seriously, man, holy shit. Whoever came up with that rhyme and that jingle, you need to be fucking excommunicated from fucking creative, really. Kofi Kingston and Big E, the Usos, Heavy Machinery, which are the only things in this match that I care about. What's going on with Heavy Machinery, Otis, and Mandy, and Dolph, that's the only thing that I give a shit about here. The Loser House Party, a.k.a. the Lucha House Party, and Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Listen. You people don't read on social media. You're like a bunch of Humbertos out there on social media. This match wasn't bad. I never said it was bad. Underwhelming doesn't equate to being bad. It was underwhelming with the talent involved. That's what I meant. Outside of a few fucking high spots with the Loser House Party and a big spot with Otis and a big spot with Tucker flipping off the pod. This match was underwhelming. I don't know how any of you guys can care about the New Day, about the Usos, which is a fucking shame because they're an incredible tag team. Same thing with the New Day. But that's WWE Creative. They are two great tag teams when it comes down to it, but when you put them in the ring together, man, I am over it. There's no fucking investment and interest there. And John Morrison and The Miz, my God, they have been absolutely dead as an act. And they're the tag team champions. So you got a dead act already. I knew Morrison would be killed off in less than 2 months. A dead act as tag team champions already. And they're the tag team champions going into WrestleMania. How the fuck is that possible? Who cares about Miz and Morrison going into WrestleMania as tag team champions? Which I will get to in a second. This is why the match was underwhelming. The only thing that we cared about here was Otis and his Mandy obsession and him getting revenge on Dolph. This was the entire premise of the Gauntlet match on Friday. This should have been center stage in this Elimination Chamber match. That's all I'm saying, and I'll touch on that in a second. But this was underwhelming. This is the product. This match was the product of absolutely no investment. They only have you caring about Otis and everything going on with him and Dolph and Mandy. That's it. Outside of all of that, I would love for someone to tell me why I should care about these other teams in the match. The Lucha House Party? Seriously. I mean, outside of Mexican night in fucking Titus Catering, these guys have done nothing of interest. Miz and John Morrison, dead. Dead. The New Day? How many fucking opportunities do they need at the tag team championships? And the Usos? Seriously. If they're in a tag team match, it's with the Usos. It's like WWE's asking me not to care about the Usos, when in actuality, I want to care about the Usos. So please tell me why I should care when there's no emotional investment or attachment to these other teams outside of the main storyline right now on SmackDown, which is Otis. Why? I don't understand. Each team got full entrances here before taking their time getting into their pod. Took forever. This pay-per-view could have easily been cut down by a fucking half an hour with all of this nonsensical shit tonight. The Usos and the New Day started the match, which I didn't have a problem with. They said that the intervals would be 5 minutes. 5 minutes. It felt like forever. In this match, and especially in the women's match, felt like more than 5 minutes. Crowd was dead. Crowd was getting restless. Lucha House Party entered next. So 3 teams were in there, not one single elimination yet. Dorado and Metalik were the MVPs of this match. And I don't believe I'm actually admitting that, but Lindsay Dorado was fucking a madman in this match, and Grand Metalik was fucking beautiful in this match, man. I hate when Michael Cole calls him the king of the ropes, because it just sounds lame coming from Michael Cole, but Grand Metalik was incredibly impressive in this match. So Dorado and Metalik and Kingston fought on top of the pod until the Lucha House Party managed to shove Kingston off and down to the floor. Dorado and Metalik each hit dives onto the Usos into the New Day. Just in time, Miz and Morrison entered the match next with everybody down. Still not one elimination, so we got 4 teams in this thing. There was a cool spot where Metalik leaped off the pod and took down Morrison with a Hurricanrana. Really good stuff, like I said, from both members of the Lucha House Party. Heavy Machinery were in next and tossed everybody aside. They bulldozed literally everybody. Still not one elimination yet. And I want to make this known to you guys, being that the Gauntlet match on Friday was to, I guess, award the winner of that Gauntlet match last in the Elimination Chamber. But what WWE doesn't realize is that when you give us the final guy, or the final team, or the final guy in these Gauntlet matches to win, and they get the last spot in the chamber, what you're doing is not only announcing the 6th team or the 6th individual to enter the match, you're also giving away number 5. So I don't know if anybody realized that, but they gave away not only the 6th position, but the number 5 position as well. So I think we should end these Gauntlet matches, because that stipulation is kind of fucking stupid. Anyway, Morrison was down with a Hurricanrana. Heavy Machinery were in next. They bulldozed over everybody. They repeatedly squashed the Usos into the cage. Crowd was big into Heavy Machinery, and more importantly, Otis. They also squashed Big E, and then Otis did the Caterpillar. Crowd was going crazy for this. This is where the match kind of started to pick up a little because everybody is emotionally invested in Otis. That's why. If Heavy Machinery wasn't in this match, this was dead. Absolutely dead and no interest. So there was a huge spot where Dorado was climbing the cage. We, watching at home, everybody in the arena seen him, I'm sure, but you wouldn't know because this crowd was so fucking dead and comatose. This guy was climbing the cage and not one fucking person made any type of reaction to this guy climbing the cage while all this shit was going on. We at home did not see Lince Dorado. He was like fucking Spider-Man. Spider-Man in that cage. We seen him literally just out of nowhere hanging upside down like Peter Parker in this cage, and he dove onto everybody. Now, the fucked up thing here is, the most ridiculous thing here is, literally, while he was doing that, everybody was down. Everybody except Otis. You got the tag team champions and the New Day and the Usos. They're all sleeping on the outside. Metalik sleeping somewhere around ringside in the ring, right? So when Dorado is in position, then they all scurry and get up so that they can all look up like a bunch of fucking idiots and look at Dorado hanging from the cage, and then he leaps on top of everybody. It was a awesome looking spot. I thought it was great, but the execution of it was fucking terrible, man. Jesus Christ. So, crowd popped big for that. Unfortunately, Heavy Machinery gave Metalik a compactor, and the Loser House Party were eliminated. Ziggler and Ruode were in next. One elimination here with the Lucha House Party being gone. They worked together with Miz and Morrison to take out Heavy Machinery. Ziggler climbed the pod to avoid Otis, but Tucker climbed up after him. Tucker dropped Ziggler onto Otis, who dropped him over the top rope. I thought he was going to slam him into the fence or slam him down with a power slam on the mats below. He dropped him on top of the top rope, and the crowd was like, that was it? I mean, he got thrown from the pod to have a big move and a big setup done to him, and then Otis just throws him on the top rope and chokes him out on the top rope. No impact. There was no big finish there. It looked stupid. It really did. It was kind of deflating with that type of move. He should have fucking slammed him. It should have been a big impact move, catching Dolph from top of the pod. So, after that, Tucker then did a fucking senton off the pod, onto the New Day and onto the Usos. That was impressive. See, spots like that made the match. Outside that, the match was very underwhelming. Ziggler and Rude double-teamed Otis, but he fought them off. Otis tried to charge, but Ziggler moved. Now, Ziggler was against the pod. Otis charged at him like a fucking freight train. He went through the plexiglass, and actually, he missed. Dove through the plexiglass and actually landed on the outside of the Elimination Chamber cage. Now, I watched every Elimination Chamber match that the WWE has done, and I think that's the first time that I legitimately seen someone crash through the glass and then end up on the outside of the structure. I know Goldberg speared Jericho in that big moment in that Elimination Chamber back in the day. I know he speared Jericho through the pod. This was not even like that. We've seen people go through the pod and land in the pod. We've never seen someone fucking launch themselves into the pod and then land on the outside of the structure. That's the first time I've seen that happen in the chamber. So that looked good. Crowd chanted, "Holy shit." And Tucker was worried about Otis. He was telling Otis and yelling, "Otis, get up, Otis. Get up, Otis." Tucker was pissed and went after Dolph and Bobby Roode, but the numbers game caught up to Tucker. Ziggler hit a super kick, Rude hit a glorious DDT, and Heavy Machinery, the only reason to fucking care about this match, were eliminated. Goodbye. So Tucker and Otis are gone. Ziggler and Rude were waving goodbye. They were taunting and making fun of Heavy Machinery. New Day took down Ziggler and Rude. The Usos then hit dives off their pods to eliminate Rude and Ziggler, and goodbye. So the two teams in this match that we cared about are now eliminated. There's no reason for me to care about this match anymore. So the Usos and the New Day teamed up on Miz and Morrison. It was a 4-on-2 before all of them eventually fought each other. Kingston missed a dive off the pod. Miz and Morrison both covered him for the pinfall. That was kind of lackluster for Kofi to be eliminated in that way, but I guess the fall was too deep for Kofi to kick out of. So that was a really weak elimination to me as far as Kofi Kingston goes. But I didn't want the New Day to win this match anyway. Enough of the fucking New Day with the tag team championships. Came down to the Usos against Miz and Morrison. Jimmy Uso kicked out of a skull-crushing finale, but Miz put him in the figure 4. That was a nice transition. I got to give it to The Miz. From the skull-crushing finale into the figure four. That was a nice transition by The Miz. Morrison hit the Starship Pain, which looked fucking awful. Holy shit. That is the worst finisher in WWE today. Jay broke up the cover, handed out super kicks for a near fall on Morrison. Miz and Morrison then pinned Jay at the same time with Miz's feet on the ropes. And Morrison and Miz retain the tag team championships. Underwhelming, guys. Underwhelming. Outside Lindsay Dorado and Gran Metalik. Outside Otis crashing through the cage. Outside of Tucker doing a senton on top of New Day and the Usos. Please tell me why this match was great in your eyes. Outside of that. I'll give it. The match wasn't the worst chamber ever, but it was incredibly underwhelming. I don't think chamber matches are really meant for tag teams. That's 6 tag teams. You don't need that many men in the fucking chamber. First of all, tag team elimination chamber matches usually end up in a clusterfuck, and that's what this match was, outside of those spots that I previously mentioned that I did like. But the match was underwhelming for this main reason only. The only reason why we cared about this match was Heavy Machinery and Dolph Ziggler, Bobby Roode. Nobody gives a shit about the other teams. Miz and Morrison have been shit champions. The New Day are boring. The Usos, you know, they're mixing up with the New Day, which makes them boring. I don't know why we need to be invested in these teams. They're giving me no reason to care. Okay? The main story here is Otis and Heavy Machinery with Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. The reason why this match was underwhelming was because the outcome here, the end, the finish, the outcome, the winner, was terrible. Would it have been so fucking hard to have Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode win the tag team championships coming in at the number 6 position and then have them be the champions going into WrestleMania with Heavy Machinery getting the title victory and Mandy joining Otis at WrestleMania so they get their WrestleMania moment with the titles with Mandy? I don't get the logic. I don't get the logic. Now, granted, some of you might be thinking, well, JD, I don't think Otis and Heavy Machinery and Mandy and that storyline needs the tag team championships. You're right. It doesn't need the tag team championships. It would have only made the feud better. It would have only made the result of Otis getting what he deserves better. And I would much rather see the title in that feud. That fucking Miz and Morrison taking the titles into WrestleMania to do something with the New Day or the Usos. That's what I'm getting at. At least the title, yes, it wouldn't have been important to the overall grand story there, but it would have made the story better because Otis feels like he's getting fucked. Dolph has the girl, then he's got the title and the girl. Can you imagine if Otis gets the title and the girl at the end of WrestleMania and Heavy Machinery, being the most over tag team on SmackDown, wins the titles at WrestleMania? Why couldn't that be the outcome? Why couldn't that be the outcome? The outcome that we got is a shit outcome, and it made the match underwhelming because now where does the tag team titles go at WrestleMania? In something that I genuinely do not give a shit about. Awful. The match was very underwhelming as far as Elimination Chamber matches go, and I stand by that. Outside of the big spots, we've seen better spots than that. We've seen spots like that in the past. Nothing was done here that was new and, fresh and exciting. We've seen these spots before. But at least you could have fucking went into WrestleMania by doing something right for storytelling. And that would have made WrestleMania a little bit more enjoyable than it sits now. Now what are we going to get? As far as the tag team titles go, something that, like I said, we genuinely don't give a shit about. Miz and Morrison win. It's their first title defense, and they finally get a victory as tag team champions. AJ Styles versus Aleister Black, a no DQ match that went 20 minutes, and this was absolutely fucking boring. I'm sorry. I don't know who said this match was entertaining. I don't know who said this match was good. This match fucking sucked, and I'm sorry to say that with the fucking guys involved here. I really am. You guys want a no DQ match in Philadelphia that's worth watching? Go watch TakeOver Philadelphia with Aleister Black and Adam Cole. You'll see the fucking differences on what a no DQ match should be. This match sucked. Now, I don't know why we needed a no DQ match here. I really don't know why we needed a no DQ match. Do you know how stupid they looked in this match, the OC? Do you know how stupid they looked? This should have been a 3-on-1 situation from the word go. No DQ, and these guys are standing outside the ring, and they're not doing anything as far as helping AJ Styles. Meanwhile, they have every given right to help AJ Styles. Every given right. Just go in there and have a blast. And they don't utilize the rules. There was even one point in this match, I believe, where AJ tried to distract the referee, and the OC was just standing outside fucking attacking Aleister Black behind the referee's back as if they were doing something wrong. On this night, you could do that and actually get away with the referee looking at you. There was one point in the match where Aleister Black set up a fucking table and the OC didn't do anything to stop him. Who books this shit? Who books this shit? Fucking awful. For the first 5 minutes, they wrestled mostly a normal WWE match. Again, why do I need a no DQ match if you're going to wrestle normal? Styles grabbed the kendo stick finally, nailed Aleister Black with a few shots with the kendo stick. Black set up a table, but Styles attacked him with a chair. Styles appeared in control here until Black came back with some strikes. Styles caught him in the calf crusher, but Black grabbed the kendo stick and he took the kendo stick and started to smush AJ Styles' face, is the best way for me to put it. Black attacked him with the stick, but Styles came right back with a Pele kick. Styles hit a version of the phenomenal forearm. It was not a springboard phenomenal forearm like he usually does. It was he jumped over the ropes and then hit a phenomenal forearm. So it was a leaping phenomenal forearm, not the springboard phenomenal forearm. Black kicked out anyway because it wasn't the full phenomenal forearm. Styles followed with a brainbuster, beautiful brainbuster for 2. Styles went to the top, but Black nailed a running kick and stopped him. Black used a springboard moonsault and a German suplex for 2 counts. As the OC stood outside and watched and did absolutely nothing to help AJ Styles. Yet they have every given right, per the rules, to do something. How stupid do they look? Again, I ask, who books this garbage? Whoever produced this match should be fucking terminated, honestly. Styles followed with a Yushi-Goroshi, and then he attempted a tombstone piledriver where he did this, right? Mocking The Undertaker. Slashes the throat, but Black slipped out and kicked Styles into a steel chair. Styles tackled Black over the announce table and tried a suplex, but Black kicked his leg out from his leg. And Black then flew off the one table and put Styles through the table that he set up on the outside with a double knee strike. Black set up for the Black Mass, and then finally, after 20 minutes, these guys grew a fucking brain and attacked Aleister Black. Oh my God. The OC jumped in the ring. There was a 3-on-1. Black fought them off, and then the numbers game caught up to him. Gallows and Anderson gave him the magic killer. You killed my interest in this match in the first 5 minutes. Anderson and Gallows saw enough. They attacked Black some more. Styles recovered and joined in. They gave a magic killer, like I said, and the lights went out. The Undertaker's gong sounded. So we hear the gong. Crowd erupts for the first time in this match. Lights came back on. The Undertaker stood there with his hands on the throats of Gallows and Anderson. Styles went at him off the top rope. He turned and caught Styles, and then another ugly-looking chokeslam by The Undertaker. That's 2 in a row now. One at Super Showdown and one here at the Elimination Chamber. 2 ugly-looking chokeslams. Who are we going to blame on these chokeslams? Is it Styles, the way he's flipping and flopping around in the chokeslam, or is it The Undertaker? I don't know. So the lights went out again, and then he was gone. Black up. He looked around. Styles was dazed, and he was up, and then all of a sudden, Black Mass for the win, and AJ Styles was pinned because of the interference by The Undertaker, and that was it. This match was terrible. This match did absolutely nothing for me. It must have been great for Aleister Black to have the assist by The Undertaker beating AJ Styles, but holy shit. The rules that were made were not really played up on. They got a no DQ stipulation, and they're acting as if they're going to get in trouble if they interfere in the fucking match. Hiding and doing sneaky shit. I get that they're heels, but they're dumb heels. You have every right to do whatever the fuck you want. It's a no DQ match. And the no DQ match, look at how shitty this booking is, folks. Look at how shitty this creative is. They had a no DQ match for the simple sake of an Undertaker gong going off for interference. You mean to tell me you couldn't come up with another way to get the Undertaker to interfere in this match? The referee couldn't go down. The match couldn't be a regular one-on-one match with this match or this attack on Aleister Black happening after the match, right? I don't get it. I don't really get it. You could have easily booked a referee going down spot in this situation with the Undertaker, just doing his thing. And then the referee comes to, Black Mass, 1, 2, 3, AJ Styles loses. There we go. But you needed a no DQ match to simply get the Undertaker's fucking gong to go off so he gets an interference. Yet I'm the one who's fucking negative about the creative, right? Are you fucking serious? This shit sucked. This was awful. Now, obviously we're getting AJ and Undertaker in some form or fashion at WrestleMania. So what does Black do? What does Black do at WrestleMania? Is it Black and Undertaker versus the OC? Makes no sense, right? Makes no sense if Black is not at WrestleMania in this thing. So what does Black do now? Maybe we'll find out on Monday. Maybe he gets thrusted into United States Championship situation because I'm fucking tired of Humberto. Maybe he goes after Andrade, right? A win over Styles is a big deal. Maybe he goes after Andrade. I don't know. But I wonder what Black is going to be doing at WrestleMania. I really do. But it looks like we're getting Undertaker and AJ at WrestleMania, and I'm still not sold on it. I wasn't sold on it 4 weeks ago when it was rumored, and I'm still not sold on it now 4 weeks to go before WrestleMania. The Street Profits versus Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. Raw Tag Team Championships. Holy shit. If you guys fell asleep during this match, I do not blame you whatsoever. I really don't. The crowd in Philadelphia could not give a single shit about this match whatsoever. And I told you on Monday, I don't even know why the fucking match is happening on Sunday. I really don't. After what we seen on Monday, I have no unearthly idea why this match was even necessary on Sunday. I will say this now, and then I'll go over what happened in the match, and I will not speak of this again because this shit sucks. Okay? The WWE gave away a now or never match on Monday between the Profits and the Monday Night Messiah and Buddy Murphy. If WWE wanted to book that match and have the title change on Monday, why was this match necessary? Because we all knew Kevin Owens, who showed up on Monday and cost them the championships, was only going to come around here in Philadelphia and do the same fucking thing. Why did we need to see the same thing happen here as we seen on Monday? WWE should have did this. They should have never had the match on Monday. They should have saved everything that they did on Monday for Sunday. And like I said, they only had the match on Monday because they wanted the big pop in New York City. The match should have never even been booked on Sunday's show, on the pay-per-view. Because A, what else do we need to see? You did everything you needed to do on Monday. And B, the rematch clause does not exist. Rollins asked for a rematch. He says we're going to get a rematch, and he's booking his own fucking championship rematches, is what I see. So why does this match need to happen on Sunday? This was a complete waste of everybody's time. And then Rollins and Owens are headed for WrestleMania. You could not pay me to find interest in that match. I don't give a shit. I really don't. Seth Rollins distracts the referee while AOP, who's outside helping the ministry, they ambush Montez Ford, throwing him into the barricade. The Viking Raiders music goes off. They run out, and they try and stop the AOP. They're brawling with the AOP up the aisleway and back into Gorilla. So they all four brawl into Gorilla. Murphy goes to work on Ford. Meteora to the face. Goes for a 2 count. Rollins tags back in. Murphy gets sent to the outside. Ford able to tag Dawkins in, who lands a ton of strikes on both guys. Flapjack on Murphy. Discus splashes in the corner by Angelo Dawkins on both Rollins and Murphy. Dawkins with the bulldog on Rollins. Ford brought back in. Assisted sliced bread. Cover only a 2 count. Rollins then with a sling blade on Ford. Murphy tagged back in. Super kick blocked. Rollins hits 1. And then a double super kick on Dawkins by both Rollins and Murphy. Ford springboards in, eats double super kicks, Looks like the Ministry is about to win the tag team titles, but Murphy looks for a pedigree. Nope. Rollins tags in. He gets dropped by Dawkins. Forward with the big frog splash. Rollins looks for the stomp. Buckle bomb instead. Kick to the back of the head on Ford. Rollins with a suicide dive on Dawkins. Caught in midair. Fall away slam. Murphy kicks Ford in the face. Climbs to the top rope. Ford stops him with a punch to the face and heads up to the second rope. Dawkins tags in. They go up together and look for a double suplex, but Rollins sneaks in and executes a Tower of Doom spots, taking everybody down. So then we see Kevin Owens walking through the crowd with a box of popcorn. Owens is now jumping the barricade. He sits on one of the announce tables. I believe it was the German announce table. And he starts eating popcorn. So Rollins is outside, and Owens throws popcorn in Seth Rollins' face. Rollins gets pissed off. Apparently, it was heavily buttered, and Rollins did not appreciate that. Rollins is more of a lightly salted guy. Angelo Dawkins comes out of nowhere and absolutely destroys Seth Rollins with a charging football tackle that levels Rollins into the barricade. So Murphy is then sent into the barricade by Montez Ford with a power bomb. Back in the ring, and we got Ford doing his frog splash. And 1, 2, 3, and that was it. And the Street Profits retain the tag team titles. After the match, Kevin Owens gets in the ring. Rollins is yelling at Murphy. What happened to you, Murphy? What happened to you, Murphy? What did you do? Is Buddy Murphy about to be kicked out of the Ministry? I don't know. We'll see on Monday. Maybe he kicks out Murphy and enlists Ricochet into the Ministry. So that Murphy can go back to catering where he belongs, right? So Rollins is yelling at Murphy. In the ring, we got Kevin Owens delivering a stunner. And the crowd goes crazy, and then he walks out of the ring, and he pours popcorn on Seth Rollins, and that was it. So literally, we got the same outcome that we got on Monday here on Sunday. So I ask you, why was this match necessary on Sunday, wasting our time? This match went 10 minutes too long, did not need to happen. Really. This was a complete waste of everybody's time. Street Profits win. I have no idea where they go for the tag team championships. We might get Viking Raiders versus the Street Profits, which I would not mind. I don't think it's going to be a high-profile match at WrestleMania. They deserve to go out there and have something built up between them. But I find no reason to fucking care about either team. Is it going to be Street Profits versus AOP? I don't know. WWE has lost this feud. They lost me on this feud. This feud is absolutely nearing its conclusion, thank God. I don't know why anybody would care about this shit. Rollins and Murphy should have never lost the tag team championships. They should have been the tag team champions going in to WrestleMania. Seriously. And it should have been Owens and Joe taking the titles from Rollins and Murphy. And that was it. That would have been the end of the feud. And then you can have Joe and Owens as the tag team champions. There could have been some decent matches there. Two over baby faces like that carrying the tag team titles. It would have been good. People would have cared. And then you could have had Joe turn on Owens, eventually costing that team the tag team titles, putting them on another heel team. It would have been very good. It would have meant something. I would have much rather seen that at WrestleMania than what we're about to get with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. I could not give a shit about a one-on-one match with Seth Rollins, who is a dead fucking act. He's better as a heel, don't get me wrong, but man, is he fucking uninteresting. And Kevin Owens. If anything comes out of this, I hope Kevin Owens is continually being built as the baby face of Monday Night Raw. Seriously. And we got Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens. So I think that's a nice 1-2 combination as far as baby faces or top baby faces on Monday Night Raw. This match was a complete waste of time. Did not need to happen at all. Completely unnecessary. Braun Strowman, Intercontinental Championship. He's defending against Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro. I mean, this is SmackDown, folks. You asked me to care about something coming out of SmackDown. That's not Otis and Heavy Machinery. That's a tall task. This was for the IC title. Sami said he wants to do this on his own. There was a pre-match promo he cut with Charlie. He said he wanted to do this on his own. He wanted to take the IC title and bring it back where it belongs. So he wanted to go man-to-man, face-to-face, toe-to-toe with Braun Strowman. So the match started. And Sami went up against Braun. He danced, and he teased Braun Strowman, and then he leaned into his corner and tagged out. Started yelling, "I'm not legal." And he smiled at Braun, and he played Braun for a fool. So Sami and his courage Lasted all about 5 seconds. Braun beat up Nakamura for a little bit as Sami continued to mouth off and yell at Braun Strowman from the apron. Nakamura got an advantage. Sami tagged in and obviously doing the heel thing. Nakamura took advantage, and that's when Sami seen an opening to put the boots to Braun Strowman. Then he tagged right back out to Nakamura. Braun eventually took control, knocked everyone to the floor. He did the because Braun Strowman can run fast. That's all he does. The guy can't wrestle for anything. He couldn't wrestle himself out of a fucking plastic bag, Braun Strowman, but he runs fast, So he did his thing, and he signaled for his train to round the ring. Sami ran into the ring and hit Braun with a forearm. Braun no-sold it, and then chased Sami around ringside. He knocked Nakamura down and then knocked Cesaro into the crowd. Sami dove under the ring. When Braun went after him, Nakamura and Cesaro attacked him, and then Graves said Braun is obsessed with Sami, so he isn't focused on winning. So that's the justification there for Braun Strowman eventually losing here. The heels threw Braun into the ringside steps. Back in the ring, Cesaro sidestepped a charging Braun Strowman, then drove him shoulder first into the post. Nakamura then gave Braun a Kinshasa. Sami tagged in as Cesaro and Nakamura lifted Braun, and Sami delivered what I thought to be looking like a weak haluva kick. I thought it was a weak haluva kick, but it got the job done. And Sami Zayn pinned Braun Strowman, and Sami Zayn won his first singles title on the main roster and became the new Intercontinental Champion. This is one of those things that I did not expect to have happen here. This was downright shocking. The match sucked, but the outcome was shocking. Now, I don't know what they're doing here. I really don't. I pray to God that we don't get Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. I think that title deserves a little bit better. This is what I would do. I had it in pen. I had this pegged as Braun Strowman winning this match and burying these three guys and then going on to go one-on-one with Sheamus at WrestleMania for the IC title. That Sheamus never held the IC title. So now, obviously, that's not happening. Don't know what Sheamus does at WrestleMania. Don't know what Braun does at WrestleMania, but I pray to God it's not with Sami. This is what we do. Now, since we are obviously changing course here for the IC title, we do Sami Zayn versus either A, Shinsuke Nakamura, because Shinsuke Nakamura was the one who wanted his IC title back. Nakamura could possibly break away from Sami, turn babyface. Maybe we get Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn and a rematch from TakeOver Dallas. I think that would be decent. I don't think WWE's going to do it justice. It'll be nowhere close to their first match, but that's an option. That's a possibility. Or you do, and this is the one I would rather have happen, which I think this would be great. I think both of these guys could tear it down, and I would love if this happens. I would love to see Sami Zayn rekindle his little back and forth with Daniel Bryan. And you do Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, and you have Daniel Bryan win the Intercontinental Championship. That's the way I would go. Maybe you could do Sheamus and Braun Strowman still. Maybe Sheamus ends up in the Battle Royal with Braun Strowman. I don't know. I don't fucking care about Braun Strowman. The guy is fucking terrible. He's awful. He can't wrestle. All he does is... That's all he does. So I would love if Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn go one-on-one, and we get Sami cutting promos on Bryan and Bryan cutting promos on Sami, leading to an IC title match at WrestleMania. I think that would be great. That would be good TV. And Sami, I've said it for weeks, is the best thing outside of Otis and Heavy Machinery and his feud with Dolph and Mandy. Sami Zayn is easily the biggest heel on SmackDown. He's one of the best things to come out of SmackDown. He is entertaining as fuck. So I would hope that WWE books him in that manner and we get Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. Main event time. Elimination Chamber match. We got Asuka versus Shayna Baszler versus Natalya versus Ruby Riott versus Liv Morgan versus Sarah Logan. Number one contendership for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. The winner fights Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. This was one of the worst chamber matches in the history of chamber matches, folks. This did absolutely nothing for me. I always say predictable is not always bad. There's good predictable, and there's bad predictable. This is bad predictable. It really is. This match should have never even been. Roman Reigns did not have to win anything. He didn't have to win anything to get a title shot at Bill Goldberg at WrestleMania. I'm next, he says, and poof, he's got a title match. WWE legitimately canceled an entire men's Elimination Chamber match just to put Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania against Bill Goldberg. How fair is that? So why couldn't we do that same thing with Shayna Baszler? Why couldn't we do that same thing with Shayna Baszler? This match was completely unnecessary. Did not need to happen whatsoever. I know the reports about Shayna and her falling out of favor with Vince. That was the big rumor going around the community over the weekend. And, I mean, there's no reason to look at it and really just brush it off. I mean, that has the possibility of being very legit. You know, I don't take anything away from Vince McMahon. The guy is known to kill acts just for the sake of killing acts. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit where they come from or who they are. He'll kill it. If he doesn't like it, if he doesn't like them or it or the storyline or the match happening or the plans, he'll cancel. He don't give a fuck. And I believed everything that report said. And I still believe everything coming out of that report, because we don't know. Shayna Baszler could go into WrestleMania and challenge Becky Lynch and lose, for all we know, which would be a mistake. But I expected much more out of this. I really did. I expected this to be a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more, at least tease me a little bit. At least tease me with Asuka a little bit. I mean, Jesus Christ. You know? The one thing that WWE did right here, the only thing WWE did right here with this Elimination Chamber match was they showcased Shayna Baszler as being a dominant fucking badass. The way Shayna ran through everybody is exactly what the fans need to see as far as Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler throwing Liv Morgan into the pod the way she did, that's exactly how Shayna Baszler needs to be booked. So I think they got that right. They really did. But I said this on Monday, I'm going to say it again. Becky Lynch and the way she's acting is honestly hurting Shayna Baszler's aura in this feud going into WrestleMania. Every time Becky Lynch comes out with a robe and a crown and laughs and mocks and doesn't take this shit seriously, it's actually hurting Shayna Baszler. Because nobody is going to look at Shayna Baszler as a threat. It's going to get to a point where Shayna's going to have to put her fucking hands around Becky's throat and really force this shit and really force Becky to take this shit seriously for the fans to start taking Shayna Baszler seriously. Becky is a very influential character. If she's coming off as, oh, this is nothing, this is a cakewalk, this is a walk in the park, then the fans are going to feel that same way. The fans are going to feel what Becky Lynch is feeling. They're going to look at Shayna Baszler as not being a threat. They're going to look at Shayna Baszler as a pushover, a joke. Because Becky Lynch looks at Shayna Baszler as a pushover and a joke. I don't like that. I don't like that. Shayna needs to come out and absolutely maim Becky Lynch on Monday. No questions asked. There needs to be blood. There needs to be handcuffs. There needs to be fucking physicality. There needs to be intensity. Shayna needs to be an absolute Terminator this final stretch going into WrestleMania. I don't give a shit. Becky Lynch is acting like Rebecca Quinn. Great. That's not the Becky Lynch I want to see on TV. The Becky Lynch I want to see on TV is the Becky Lynch that got her face fucking broken by Nia Jax. That's the Becky Lynch I want to see. Where is that Becky Lynch? Until we get that Becky Lynch, this match is doomed to fail. I'm telling you right now. Now, the match itself was not good at all. This was one of the worst Elimination Chamber matches of all time. This was very predictable. There was no doubt about the outcome. I was just waiting for this shit to be over so we could all be proven right. Shayna's going to WrestleMania. Ruby Riott and Natalya started. They worked together for the first interval of the match, the first 5 minutes, and the crowd seemed very bored and tired like they were all night. I don't know if this... And listen, the crowd has every right to fucking be silent. This show sucked. It was too long for an Elimination Chamber D-level pay-per-view. There was no investment. Seems like this crowd did not watch the last 4 or 5 weeks of WWE TV, so how the fuck could they find any investment in this shit, right? So Logan was in next and gave Natalya a double knee into the pod. Then Logan dove off the pod on both women, which looked very good. Natalya then powerbombed both Logan and Riott. They sped up the interval times because Baszler was in less than 8 minutes, it seemed like it, into the match. Baszler pretty much immediately tapped Logan out with a Kirifuda clutch. Right after that, she tapped out Riott almost immediately. And then she tapped out Natalya. 3 straight Kirifuda clutches. Boom. Done. Match was over. I even commented on social media, Shayna wants to end this fucking match as quickly as we want this show to be over. She feels our pain. So Morgan was in next. Baszler swung her into the cage like a fucking savage. That was awesome. And then she was crying, and she sold it very well. Baszler then put Morgan in the Kirifuda clutch, and she passed out. She was, this was great. She put her in the Kirifuda clutch as she sat on the top rope right in front of Asuka's pod. Tapped her out. Baszler eliminated 4 women. Only Asuka left. The WWE, whoever was in charge of the timer, whoever produced this match is another fucking idiot. Got to be terminated. Got to have his rights revoked here about booking and producing matches. With every elimination, Shayna was in this ring for about 10 minutes, waiting for the fucking timer to go off. I don't know why they just did not release Liv Morgan after she eliminated all 3, Natalya and Sarah Logan and Ruby Riot. She stood in the ring legitimately waiting for the fucking timer to go off. This woman has no competition in the ring. Sound the fucking buzzer and release Liv Morgan from the pod. And then Liv Morgan gets eliminated in similar fashion, just like the other 3, and she's just standing there waiting for Asuka to be released from the pod. Sound the fucking alarm. Put the buzzer on, release Asuka into the wild, and boom. The crowd was growing restless. There was chants of CM Punk. Fans were chanting this was boring. You just felt the crowd getting restless. What a stupid fucking booking decision. Holy shit. So Asuka was the last one in. Asuka was in last. She missed a roundhouse kick, but connected with a running hip attack and kicks Shayna in the chest. Baszler caught her and kicks Asuka on her own. Asuka hit a roundhouse kick and applied the Asuka lock. Baszler rolled to the outside and slammed Asuka into the cage. Then she went after the injured wrist. Asuka managed to fight out of a Kirifuda clutch, but Baszler went back after the wrist. Baszler followed with a kick and then applied the Kirifuda clutch, and Asuka passed out. There was no struggle. There was no epic conclusion here between the 2 women who came out of NXT that had the most dominant run out of any woman in WWE history. It's Asuka number 1 and Shayna number 2. There was virtually no struggle, no competition, no epic closing segment, no epic closing sequence between these 2. We figured these would be the last 2 women in the match. Nothing. It was as if WWE knew this was a predictable outcome, and they wanted this shit to be over just to get through this fucking waste of a show and get Shayna and Becky on the marquee for WrestleMania. Crowd booed. Baszler eliminated everyone to win and gets a title shot at Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, and Becky Lynch was shown watching the TV in the back. It's going to be interesting to see what happens on Monday night, and that's pretty much it. This show was a fucking waste of time. This show was completely unnecessary, and like I said in the beginning, this was a show that was the product. This crowd and the overall feel of this show was the product of 2 weeks of pay-per-view build. Can you imagine if you spent $70 on this show? Imagine if this show was on ESPN Plus and you had to pay $70 for this shit. This is the product that they would give you. A complete waste of time. It doesn't feel like WrestleMania season. WWE absolutely limped like a dying soldier into Elimination Chamber, and I'm absolutely disgusted. I really am. That this is WrestleMania season. This, folks, is WrestleMania season. When WrestleMania season wants to show itself, I'd love someone to fucking notify me. I'd love someone to tell me when WrestleMania season starts, because I certainly don't feel it. I really don't. And WWE, shame on them for thinking that they could get one over on us simply because it's WrestleMania and they feel that they don't have to do anything as far as pay-per-view build. Shame on you, Vince. This show sucked. Fucking terrible. Should be ashamed the Elimination Chamber was this fucking bad on the road to WrestleMania. Guys, I'm getting out of here. If you enjoyed the pay-per-view review, let me know down below. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. And if you guys want to support the podcast, you guys know how to do that. Very easy to do. Audible, audibletrial.com/offthescript. 30 days free of their service and 1 free audiobook. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. And if you missed Off the Script this past weekend, episode 316, everything you need is linked down below in the description. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow night for Monday Night Raw. Hopefully it's a good one. And like I said, when WrestleMania season arrives, someone let me know, because it certainly doesn't feel like we're on the road to WrestleMania. If anything, I want to take the detour into any other place in town not named WrestleMania. See you guys later.